Yeah.
That's fine. I'll add that. I was
And the M is silent.
In Irish.
Eichel.
So it's Eichel.
Eichel Fox.
And the Y in Rory is a Z.
Rosie.
Rosie.
Rosie O'Connor, yeah.
Alright. So I'm so wrecked.
It's Sunday.
I know.
I mean, it goes without saying.
It'll be okay. We'll survive.
So must remember to speak slowly for the American audience.
No, don't be a jackass. Just speak normal.
They don't work as well, Scott. A woman was talking yesterday, we couldn't even hear her. I know, but there was a woman in that spot. I couldn't hear her until I put the mic down.
That's the me mic.
Got loops of Call Me Maybe in my head.
Oh really? But that's like when we're driving down the road and the girls have their playlist
If
on.
you pull out the cable,
that kind of comes
John,
on, like-
you can rotate it and that will...
So I want to do another parody song, but I want to do
Unplug the mic.
Carly Rae
and
Jepsen's
then
I Really,
you
Really,
can
Really
spin.
Like You, but I want it to be about co-op games.
I'm sorry, you don't have to do that. You just
And I want to do a big dance sequence at the end of it with Matt at the front of it. It's going to happen.
We'll shift it when there's not two, I guess. Something's weird though.
It's not good.
So, if as you're explaining, you see me fiddling or looking up, I'll worry about the camera overhead. So you just
Talk away.
keep talking.
Well, I mean, the action, we'll kind of start talking about this area generally, and then I'll start flipping tiles, or the first tile, then we'll reference the character sheet, so I'll pull one of these out. So I'll make sure everything is kind of going to here as much as possible.
Awesome.
well.
I mean, we might bring one of these boards
Yeah.
over to kind of show them. Yeah, we're good.
Cool.
Hi, my name is Beth Hiley here for Board Game Geek at SPIEL 17. I'm sitting down with Rory O'Connor and Michael Fox from the Creativity Hub, and you guys have brought us your newest title, Untold.
Yeah, so Untold is an adventure game for 1 to 4 players, where you basically go on, you're the heroes in your own ongoing episodic adventure series. So this allows you to play like Star Trek themes, like space adventures, or like dark and broody Game of Thrones type stories, or even like a 1980s cartoon TV series like, let's say, Ulysses
31.
Ulysses 31.
That'd
yeah.
be a good one.
And the kind of key thing about this is it's powered by kind of 2 things. One is this 5-act structure that we've created using the cards, and also Rory story cubes. So this is what allows you to kind of do anything and go anywhere in the game.
And we should mention that a standard set of the cubes comes in the
Yes.
box, but you could incorporate any of the other
Yes,
sets
so
that you've had.
if you want a specifically sci-fi theme, you mix in intergalactic. If you want it to be kind of heavy D&D themed, you might want to mix in Fantasia. If you want like anthropomorphic superheroes, you mix in Animalia and Powers together. So or if you wanted to set it in Gotham City, you can use Batman or like our plug new Adventure Time set. So you can basically
That
be
one works
characters.
really well.
Yeah, it lends itself to the kind of craziness of it all.
All right, take us through how we're going to go through our story and our plot.
Okay, so a key thing is the game plays in like 60 minutes and under, and there's no preparation beforehand. So a family can sit down and start playing this game like straight out of the box. The way it works is you sit down first.
The bing bong.
Freeze.
It's a bing bong. It's the voice. It's Bing Bong the Eurovision song. Yeah. Done internationally.
Okay. So you start off by deciding on the setting for your episode. Okay, and you do that by answering like 4 basic questions. When is the episode going to take place? Where is it going to take place? What's the or what do we know about this world? So is there magic? Is it high tech? Is there mutants? Or did the Roman Empire never fall? You know, that kind of thing. And the tone is a really important one. It's basically how we're going to play together. So is this going to be dark and broody? Is it going to be kind of light comedic? Or is it going to be farcical? And you'll see how the game is really being designed to kind of facilitate that collaborative storytelling and make sure everyone has a good time when they play it. So once you've answered these first 4 questions, you basically jump into the game. To do that, you basically encounter a danger. So we flip the first card, And it basically gives you a very simple sentence structure that says, at this location, a threat, it has captured someone or something. If you look at the player reference guide, the options might be they're accusing someone, they're attacking someone, they've captured someone, or they're pursuing someone or something. Okay, so in this case, out of the random cards that come with the box, and I should mention, there's 6 of each card, so there's 720 possible story arcs.
I love that you've done the math on that.
I know. I learned that with story cubes. So in this case, someone or something has captured someone or something. Okay, so let's say we're assuming this is going to be a sci-fi setting.
All right.
Okay, so we've answered our questions and we said it's going to be Star Trek-y.
Awesome.
Just to make it really clear. Okay, so the first thing we do is we roll the story cubes, and we're going to use these basically to answer the questions. So the question is, where are we, and who is the threat or the danger in this episode?
I'm going to say we're in a laboratory.
Okay, and I will say like a floating, one-eyed, like a cyclopean Azrael, which is like an alien species, appears to have captured someone or something. That's all we know, and that's all we need to know for the setup. So imagine cutting to the title sequence where the characters are introduced. So now we're going to take, I'll put this here, the character profile. And again, we answer just a few simple questions. What's our job or role in the episode? What compels us to go on adventures? And this came from the playtesting where people didn't always want to be the hero. So like Scooby-Doo, you're like the reluctant hero who kind of gets dragged on adventures. And then you give yourself 2 specials, and that could be an ability or a power, a helpful item or companion, or an area of expertise or knowledge. So you just note those down. If you're stuck for ideas, you can always roll the story cubes to help you come up with ideas. So once we've got our characters, we explain how we know each other, and we jump back into the story. So if we put these back in. So to figure out we need to figure out what's going on, and we need to deal with the threat. So to do that, we can ask questions and we can take actions. As soon as you take the last action, the episode ends and you must move on to the next scene. So we might say, have you got a question you might want to ask?
I would say, who has built this Cyclopsian, whatever you calls it?
Alien creature.
There you go.
Okay, so I'll do it because you've got your hands full. So you'd roll. So you take the token, and this is important to indicate how everyone is playing in the game. So you kind of see if someone's hogging or someone's not getting a chance to participate, to kind of check in and make sure everyone's having a good time as they're playing. So we're going to roll to see who created this thing, and
we're going to say a Jekyll and Hyde type scientist.
Okay, so I might quickly ask, who have they captured? Who or what have they captured? So this Cyclopean creature.
I'm going to put that chip in front of you since you asked the question.
So I will say it's actually a time traveler who's, it's like a kind of fish merman type creature who's come back from the future. And they've captured them, okay?
And I actually want to applaud you because let's say Michael hasn't participated in this action yet, and you actually have a mechanic built in to compensate for that.
So what we can do is, at any time, I can jump in and say, well, this merman that you speak of from the future, I can flick this idea token here, and it's a one-off spend, which means that I am not allowed to use it again, but I do get a next one to use later down the line. But I can put my idea in on top of it. So it turns out that this merman is actually a massive superhero, a world-renowned, super famous superhero from the future. So it's not just your average, everyday merman. It's like super overpowered, and they are called Merman. There you go. Really, really innovative naming construction.
Well, I was going to say that the part I really liked when you were showing me this earlier too is that, let's say, Michael, you weren't feeling very verbally expressive today. You're having kind of a quiet day, and you could flip that over and be like, whoa.
So this is like an ad break. So think of it, it's we're now going to take a moment and sort of think, why is Michael not engaged in this episode? Why am I not talking that much? So you guys would go, okay, what can we do to make you feel a bit happier about this game? Can we push the game in a different direction? Is there anything that we can make or anything that we can do to help you feel more involved? And then once everybody's happy and everything's done, boom, we're straight back into the game again.
So it's almost like you can kind of pause and rewind slightly and then start the story again in the direction you want.
So just to kind of wrap this up a little bit, I just want to highlight some of your reaction and outcome cards here, because we're going to kind of continue that process through the rest of our story development. How do these play in?
So, like I said, you can ask questions or take action. So when you take an action, you use a very simple structure, which is like, I want to or I try to. So it might be, I tried to free the merman by using, I might have an ability, to kind of untie the chains that he's tied up in, okay? So I take the action, so I want to try and free him. So I flip over an outcome card to see whether I succeed.
Alright, let's see where that goes. But...
So basically it's red or green for success, red for kind of you don't succeed, and then some of the cards are modified by a but or an and. So we managed to free him, but something has happened, okay, that is not in our favor.
Yeah, so a slight negative. So yeah.
So to figure that out, we flip over a reaction card.
Which is...
Okay, so someone in the scene is reacting in this way. It could be us, it could be Merman, it could be the alien. So in this case, it's actually going to be Merman because he's really put out at the fact that he had to be rescued. And we've actually made an enemy of Merman. He's like, I had this totally covered. Like, what are you doing? And it was all part of his plan to be captured, and we've ruined the timeline as a result of that. Okay? Oh man, so we're in trouble. So once we've asked all of the questions here, so once we spend the last one, we go through the various scenes. So the plot will thicken, where in this case we discover the alien has an evil master. Then to deal with this, we travel to a new location where we meet a new threat who is now pursuing us, and we have to deal with that. Then we discover that this new threat has been following a dark agenda all along that we must deal with, and that kind of propels us to the final showdown where we encounter not one but two threats. So the colours then inside here indicate that you can reintroduce elements for dramatic tension. So in this case, blue, this is a blue border,
back to the lab.
So we can go back to the lab where we confront the alien, and we might actually use this to have rolled it and use it to indicate Merman. So we're actually facing off against the two people who we thought were foes in the beginning. We're actually in cahoots with each other, and they're attacking us. So the whole thing plays out, like we said, in 60 minutes. Whether you succeed or not, if you succeed, it's woohoo! You celebrate. If you don't, it just becomes a cliffhanger for the next episode.
And then you can go again.
Yeah, and we have on the episode sheet, we have locations to make notes as you're playing.
I was going to say, you've got the ability to have character notes over multiple episodes, so...
Yes, so you can kind of note down what's changed and use them as plot points for future episodes as well. So the more you play with this, the more the world grows. And it's just like, we've been demoing it all weekend, and it's just been so much fun, like hearing the range of stories that have been coming out from this one simple kind of setup that people have to play with.
Well, Rory and Michael, thank you so much for letting us take a look. If you guys want to check that out, that is Untold from the Creativity Hub, and thank you again.
Thank you. Switch up.
Don't stand up.
I am going to hop out.
And I'm going to switch position.
It's really good, guys.
Is it good?
I think I could play that.
You should play it. It's good.
No, that's the whole point. It's as long as you've watched an episode of something, you know how it works. That's why we designed it that way. I'm going to hop out because I got to go to my 10 o'clock meeting, so it'll be Michael. Thanks a million, guys.
All right.
Have you got all the games you need?
We're going to do Untold when we get back to the States. There's no rush on that, so I figured that would just be easier.
Okay, I can send one from the States.
Yeah, I'll message you.
If you want to bring one home, let me know, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. Yeah.
Okay.
This package is probably huge, regardless.
You good?
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to scoochy that a little bit to the side. I know we're just laying out hands for...
Pretty much.
Yeah,
it's Uno Legacy. That's what his code name was when we were developing it. Please, sorry, Hasbro.
So, Eichel Fuax, right?
Yes, that one, yes. From the New Hampshire Fuaxes. A long lineage of thousands of years.
How much do you care about the Eichel?
Is anybody even actually watching at this time?
Well, we don't have any of the United States because it's the middle of the night.
They're all asleep.
Yeah.
Is my wife watching? Hi, Steph, if you are watching.
103.
Hey! Hello, 103 people.
Zoom it real good. Thank you.
Okay, boss. Oh, I've been playing Drop Mix all weekend, and it's got Push It in it, and it's that and Carly Rae Jepsen.
It's a little tilted. Oh, that's better.
That's it. Tilt it real good.
Lean, let's freak him out.
Oh, it's actually more straight now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Push that.
This one?
I just got to push it in my head. That's your fault.
It is indeed. You're welcome.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Beth Hiley here for Board Game Geek at Spiel 17. I'm sitting down with Michael Fox from the Creativity Hub, and you've brought us Blink.
Our new tiny game that is filled with awesomeness and opportunity. And lovely and wonderful it is too. So, speedy rundown. Here you go. If you have ever played any game where you have a hand of cards and you need to get rid of them all by, matching colours and numbers, then this will be completely and easily accessible for you. However, we have put some twist into it because otherwise it would just be another game. So this is Blank, the card game. It's not based on any other game. The idea is, yes, you will start with a hand of 7 cards. It looks just like this. Fully colorblind sorted as well, because of course we are all about making our things as accessible as possible. So you have 6 different colors. All of them will be either numbered from 1 through to 6, but you also at the very, very start of the game will have a row of rule cards. So the game comes with a whole stack of pre-made rule cards. And in this case, anytime somebody were to play a 1 to the top of the discard pile, everybody has to put their hands in the discard pile, last one draws a card. Anytime somebody plays an orange card, next player would have to name a city, no repeats. Anytime somebody says another player's name,
Michael,
you would have to draw 2 cards. So, the idea, like we said, is nice and recognizable. You could put on top of this card a 3, a blue card, or a bunch of 3s, or a bunch of blues, but not any combination. You can't do like a 3 and then a blue.
Well, let's kick this off, and I will put a 4.
Beautiful. So you've matched your blues. That is good. So I don't actually have any 4s in my hand, so I do have to have a blue card there, so I can put it on top of there.
All right.
So
now it's going to get a little interesting because I've played. Oh, you've played a 1.
I played a 1. Oh no! I have missed this opportunity. So anytime you make a mistake or anytime you fail to follow one of these rules, I have to take a penalty, which is nice and simple. I have to draw a card off the stack. So, as the game continues, we will be trying to get rid of all of our cards, but if you have a quick look at your hand, you'll notice that someone has scrawled all over my cards.
Someone's written on your deck,
What on earth is going on? So the idea is, if this were to be played legally, and let's just pretend it were played legally,
Be happy.
This is called a game effect, and this game effect triggers immediately. So the idea is that you would then have to pick a player that has to keep smiling until a rule card is discarded. So I'm going to smile delightedly for the rest of the interview like this. So there are actually some pre-written card effects in the game. So the base game actually just has 6 cards all through the 72 that are included that actually have a pre-written effect. So if this were to come into play, everybody else would draw 2 cards. But how did this piece of writing get here, Beth? That's the question I hear you asking.
Thank you. It's nice when you do my job for me.
It does. So the idea is, if you manage to get rid of all of your cards, you get to make a permanent impact on the game by writing on a card. So you will either come up with a game effect that you can write on any one of the cards, and you see how some have images
and some
do not. So maybe an image might inspire you to come up with an idea.
Oh, like this one.
So what would you come up with for something like this?
I would say let's say when you discard more than one card of the same number, you have to sit on one hand.
So then we would need a lovely name for that as well, so that would go up on the top of that. If I was feeling a little bit more creative, I could take one of the completely blank cards.
Here we go.
We've got a couple there. So those, you can draw your own picture, come up with your own title, come up with your own game effect, sorted. Now what you can also do as an alternative is do a completely brand new rule. And if you do a brand new rule, this one is going to be included in the next game for sure. You must include it in the next game. So this then becomes a game of game design, essentially. You are creating a game that's entirely built around you and your gaming group. So literally, once somebody rips off the packaging and you play your first game and somebody gets that pen to paper the very first time, it immediately becomes a unique snapshot of your gaming group. So
Rory was telling me a great example that one of his daughters, Rory O'Connor was telling me one of his daughters wrote a card where the trigger was if you say no or yes.
Oh, and this card here,
that would be,
mean?
yes, the player says yes or no in any language because they were trying to dodge that, then they must pick up a card. And apparently his wife went, was at the doorbell and she said, no, yes, no!
So it's very, very easy to come up with really sort of interesting rules that will twist the game in completely new and innovative directions.
And I love that you can author.
Oh, you must sign the card. So number one, you have to sign the card because we need to know who is responsible for the rule. But we also need to know who to blame if it keeps on coming up and it keeps on getting triggered. But say, for example, I don't like this rule. I might put a game effect in there that might have an effect on that rule. So I can keep on building and building on the different effects and game rules that are popping up as the game continues. But yeah, I just love the way how it becomes this massive snapshot of the people you're playing with. And it can be as wonderful and innocent as a spring morning, or it can become as dark and evil and depraved as your average copy of Cards Against Humanity, but worse. We've had some very, very interesting people working on these, like the early prototype versions that we had. One of our friends back in Belfast actually came up and developed a full set collection game using this.
Wow.
So he took our little blank game and turned it into this really, actually pretty cool in-depth Euro. And it was like, I was sat down with him going, how did you do this? And he just goes, the rules just happened. We just kept on scribbling down the rules and it just evolved into this beautiful creation.
Wonderful.
So yeah, it's awesome and we are really, really excited about it. It's doing really well here at the show. We're going to be at PAX Unplugged as well, so come and see us there if you're there. Yeah, it's awesome. Come play it. It's really, really good.
If you guys want to essentially create and evolve your own game, that is Blake from the V Creativity Hub. And Michael, thank you again.
Thanks very much, Beth. Sweet.
I love that I gave that example. You're like, oh, here it is.
If only I had planned the thing out in advance. So cool. Awesome. Beth, thank you as always. It's all good. Obviously, you guys aren't going to be at PAX because you guys are all going to be at your home base.
And BGGCon coming up in a mere 3 weeks.
I can't believe that they're on the same weekend, but hey, such is life.
Right?
It is all fun.
Of course.
Sunday.
See ya. Hello from New Zealand. Hello, New Zealand. It might have nodded it. Which is, that was one of their droopers, so they were kind of doing themselves and us a favor at the same time. Right. But a little treat for them who are watching the feed very early. Or from New Zealand, whatever time it is for you in New Zealand. Wait, I need those. This is gonna look really weird. A moment.
Hi, my name is Beth Harley from Board Game Geek, and I'm here at SPIEL 17. I'm really excited about a lot of games, and it's wonderful being here in Germany. very welcome. I've been waiting 5 days for this.
So Beth, what has been your favorite game while you've been here? What has been, well...
Before we started filming, we played Azul, and it was pretty neat. I liked the tiles a lot. So, maybe you should buy it.
I was a little disappointed by it. I thought it was a little random and wanted more control.
Well, that's why John doesn't like any games at all because he's too picky.
Welcome to Sunday, everybody.
I have to do some partner stuff, so tell everybody we'll be right back.
Okay, we're gonna stop the stream for a second. We got a little computer hardware stuff to do because we gotta start a little early to squeeze in the creativity hub. So we're stopping the stream on purpose. We'll be back.
We'll be right back.